than capable of getting that kind of farm.
Yeah, he has. He has in the previous games. If it is a Roger, they could also just do, Iceberg Tiny. That's kind
Also
of his
true, yeah.
bread and butter.
Yep. Sand King coming out. You like General and Sand King? We've seen a lot more +3 Sand Kings, or maybe position 4s that were really farmed, aka Taiga. Do we like the Sand King now? Because I remember like a week during these 4 weeks here together, there was 1 week where everybody hated on Sand King.
Okay. That was some specific people.
Okay.
I don't think that was either of us.
No, it wasn't.
I actually like the Sand King.
I was on the fence until Veil became immensely popular. Now I'm a big Sand King believer.
I liked it before. I like the...
Oh, hipster. Sand King hipster
I like Sand
right
King
here.
before it was
listen,
cool.
Listen, I was spamming this hero, okay, when it got
yeah?
changed. I like the fact that you have a choice now. You have 2 builds. You can go for the max Burrow build and then go points in Caustic, and you can be this killer. You can be really active, or you can go for the max Sandstorm build, and you can defend lanes and make it impossible to push towers, which is exactly what NiP wants to do with these heroes. They want to push towers, so I think the Sandstorm build would be really good. And then it just completely decimates illusion heroes. It's magic damage versus these high armor agi guys. Like, you just crush. You crush the illusions with either build.
The Terrorblade Enchantress lane. We saw that earlier today, didn't we? That crushed, actually.
Yeah.
This was the Terrorblade that actually won against the Arc Warden. But can NiP do it?
That seemed like a game in a vacuum, though. That, like we had mentioned on the earlier panel, that Arc Warden didn't necessarily seem particularly seasoned on the hero, and so...
A very nice way. You're so polite.
Very diplomatic.
Edge case scenario there that the Terrorblade came out on top. The lane did look good, though. It's just against all this sustained magic damage. There's so much magic damage that this Terrorblade needs to be worried about.
And then you have the counter of the Morphling, too, versus the Terrorblade. You just steal meta, and you're a better version of TB. That's the classic counter. And FlyToMoon has proven numerous times that they really understand how to play around and with this Morphling hero. So I am definitely concerned for NiP in that sense, but we have seen Terrorblades. This is the type of hero. If he has 1 item on you, it doesn't matter who the hell you are or how much you counter him, he's going to destroy you.
But does it not seem a little bit like FlyToMoon is also gearing up towards a longer game? Or am I just being fooled by the Morphling?
V-Tune on Morphling always seems immensely flexible. Like we saw in that last game that he got completely obliterated in the laning phase and still became a force to be reckoned with like 15 minutes later. And so he's very good at reading the game on Morphling, knowing when to participate in fights, when it's going to be a farming contest between him and the enemy hard carry. So while I see where you're coming from, I think that FlyToMoon will kind of play it by ear, or specifically V-Tune will play it by ear, depending on how Iceberg in general are doing.
Fair. Alright, last ban. They already removed the Grimstroke. They are expecting that Tiny and the Sand King to be cores, so they're looking into Roger's heroes. Or maybe even into Always Wanna Fly hero, depending on who's going to play that Oracle, of course. But anything in particular that you feel like FlyToMoon is lacking?
I would love to see the Puck, honestly. I feel like Puck would dumpster the TB in the game, and you have this liquid combo that they're doing. Okay, they go for the Zeus, so hard counter the Terrorblade.
And still some flex potential between Iceberg and I guess maybe 4-position Zeus, if that's viable still. I know his mana regen got nerfed significantly.
That was a sick combo, actually.
Yeah.
Zeus, Sand King. That was about... Literally, I'm going to say, it's literally the only lane that Zeus 4 was viable in, because you deward the sentries.
Exactly.
And Sand King... Sand King doesn't lose lanes, period, if he gets the sentry. If he gets the sentry. So Zeus, Sand King... I think this is probably going to be General playing the Zeus just because I know he really loves the hero.
But you do think it's going to be a side lane Zeus, though, not as Iceberg Zeus.
Because the thing is, they did ban out Storm, so they were leaving that option open also for a mid lane. Ooh, Visage last.
Visage.
Well, we'll see. I'm super on the fence about where the Zeus is going to go, actually, because I love the Zeus Sand King lane in this game. I think it'll give Sand King such a good game.
And I think him going Sandstorm build is also like perfect in this situation as well, because you talked about the 2 different builds.
Defend towers.
Exactly. And so if you're able to keep this Prophet and this Terrorblade, and even the Visage now, who's also notorious tower pusher, and buy enough time for this Morphling to come online, then NiP have their work cut out for them. But I do like the Visage pick quite a bit, as we do see the odds definitely, unsurprisingly, favoring FlyToMoon. I mean, what, 5-0. 5-0. I'm actually impressed that they're this close.
These are close. These are close.
Is the draft close? Because you guys are both seeming to lean towards FlyToMoon.
I think NiP has to play this incredibly well in the first 15 minutes to win with their push strat. They do have an
But
immense
they
amount
played
of push.
very well in the first 15 minutes of previous game.
That's
The
true.
first 17 minutes they have to play well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it does seem kind of tunnel vision-y because normally whenever we see a Terrorblade, people are like, oh yeah, Zeus would be a great hero in this situation because of all the magic damage. And then you kind of go all in on that strategy if you do go for the Zeus as opposed to going to more mixed damage. So that would be the downfall of FlyToMoon, but I'm still leaning that way.
All right, well, let's find out if Ninjas in Pajamas is finally able to transform into paper, which is a rock, paper, scissors reference, by the way. Let's head into the second game of the series with ODPixel and Lizard.
Thank you very much, Shiva. Yes, second game ready to go of NiP and FlyToMoon. Of course, that last game, a bit of a rough one for NiP. We're seeing them coming with the Terrorblade this time. They've certainly got the magical burst though on FlyToMoon. Lots of ways to really make sure this Terrorblade's game is not going to be an easy one.
Yeah, I'm going to agree completely with what Panel said. They need to have a good starting 15 minutes.
Yeah.
But in this kind of a game, even that doesn't really put them so far ahead that they're going to win. Because they have absolutely no catch for this Morphling. You have Clockwork, right? And that's pretty much it. After that, this Morphling, it looks like a very, very easy game for him.
Yeah, and we saw last game, right, how much the Morph could do. And a Morph as well that was slowed down at the beginning. Very little CS in the first few minutes, and it just didn't matter. I mean, where does sort of the strengths lie elsewhere in NiP's lineup? But like, what are they going to be able to do that could necessarily counter what FlyToMoon's tried to bring to this game?
So there are obviously some negatives to their draft, but obviously because of that there are some positives as well. This Visage perhaps is pretty good pick for them.
Is it a good Visage game, would you say?
It's a really good Visage game, especially if Iceberg is playing mid on Zeus.
And he is.
This is a lane Visage is going mid. This is a lane that you're fine with. You buy sticks, after that Hood, perhaps a pipe for your team. It's a pretty good Visage game. And you also have heroes that can play fast with you. You have Nature Prophet, you have Enchantress and Clock. You can definitely pressure towers early on, which is what every Visage player wants to do.
Yeah, I imagine what in terms of the lane matchup itself, you shouldn't die
right
to the Zeus, and then when you hit the 6, you got a chance of killing him.
You definitely shouldn't die. Unless you get severely outplayed by the Zeus, you shouldn't die. You're both trading, last hits there. Overall, Visage isn't a strong laner versus anything, but Zeus doesn't pressure you, and that's what's important. You can always self-sustain yourself with a stick, a couple of tangos, and that's it. So it should be a solid lane.
Yeah, we'll see how things go. One thing that, I mean, how does sort of Visage do in a game where there's a Morph about? Because is Morph not one of the heroes that can kill the familiars very easily with his high damage, high attack speed?
No. It doesn't really matter for the familiars because of your armor, right? Because of your layers of armor. The thing is, however, you don't pressure the Morphling himself very much either. If you get that Aghanims or Hex, perhaps, which I believe NiP has to get on at least on one hero this game. Your Visage needs a Hex later on, or the Nature's Prophet. One of these two, definitely. After that, Morphling can suffer a little bit, but usually what happens in teamfights, they kind of ignore each other, because you don't want to pop that T-Blade on a Visage, and the Visage doesn't really want to be very aggressive on the Morphling either.
Is this the way to play the Visage nowadays? Supreme queuing up the Midas on the Visage?
That's actually very interesting. I think level 15 talent on Visage is huge. He's very level dependent, and I think that's one of the reasons why people are going for this Midas build.
Let's see how these side lanes do. So top lane General and Roger up against Misha and Charlie. There's Terrorblade, Ench against the SK Tiny. Bottom lane, V2. This time round, probably going to have a bit of a better start than he did in game 1 when it came to CSing as well. This lane, V2 is going to farm right down here.
Yeah, this lane is way, way easier. Yeah. As long as always wanna fly stays safe and doesn't feed way too much on this bottom lane, V2 isn't going to do the same. Like, he's completely fine. He has waveform, you can't kill him in the Sprout, you can't kill him in the Cogs, you can farm under the tower. It's a pretty easy lane for him. The top lane, however, I would say is a nerd kind of a lane, in which you really have to think about what you're doing here. You have to think about the sentries, creep skips, and perhaps even... Are they gonna get him? No.
Oh, he's chilling. I mean, generally, he just walked straight into the midst of the two of them. I mean, he knew what he was doing. He was getting the XP for level 2, so either way, even if they did try and chase him, he would have had the availability to drop a skill point into whichever ability would have saved him.
A pretty solid play from him overall. On the mid lane as well, you can see Zeus is winning, but he's not denying a lot. And that's all you care about on the Visage
Just
lane.
getting the levels.
Yeah, you just want to get that level 6 as soon as possible. After that, the lane is completely yours and Zeus can't really threaten you any longer.
And as things progress on this top lane, I imagine this is a lane where Charlie is going to have to be careful, right? The Tiny and Sanking, once they have like this level 3, it's a lot of magical damage that's going to have to be dealt with. And already, seizing an opportunity to toss back Misha into the Avalanche. Yeah, he's got the Fairy Fire and the heals. Is it enough to keep him safe? A couple more hits to do it. They can't quite get it. Attendants do keep Misha alive.
That's still level 2 though. If they waited a little bit and tried to go for this when they're both level 3, this enchantment, yeah, they're getting the kill. Not only on her, they can get the kill easily on the Terrorblade as well. And you asked about Charlie and how that lane is for him. It's not even about the lane. Throughout the game, he has to be very careful how he positions himself, because you'll have General and Tiny jumping on top.
I mean, that's the thing. It definitely looks like a game in which, you know, unless the TB is sort of an item ahead. Oh, Saberlight. Well, managed to get away. They'll turn onto V2, and he did waveform in aggressively for this. The Battery Assault bringing him down low. Always Want to Fly trying to come into tank some of the Battery Assault, and it'll do it. Always Want to Fly. Will he go down for this attempt? He won't. He's got the Fairy Fire. He's going to live there. Lovely moves here from the Oracle, as if he didn't come across that Battery Assault, it would have killed V2.
Yeah, that was really well played from him. They go on Charlie.
They're in on him. The heals from Misha helping out though. Attendance again, saving the two of them, but still you're definitely starting to feel the pressure that FlyToMoon can use on this top lane.
Yeah, on top lane, FlyToMoon are pressuring on the bottom lane.
Oh, error. Okay. Didn't stop Iceberg from getting the bottle, the rune bottled. And you also gave him first blood. That Supreme ain't gonna be too happy.
Oh, he's not happy at all. He might even die here. Iceberg. Oh.
Damn. Oh. Yeah, Supreme is not happy right now.
Oh, Era.
He is not happy with Era.
Not only did he not deny him the bot, maybe he can get the kill here?
Okay. Yes, he should. There's no further regen, so redeemed. Redeemed. Era gets a good burst to XP. Supreme's still going to be a little salty that he didn't get anything out of it, but at least something for the team as a whole.
Oh man, if he didn't get that kill, he's sweating right now. I'm going to tell you that. That's hard. That's hard because your Visage was level 4. Zeus hit that kill on Clockwork, got level 5, then killed the Visage mid and got level 6. That's huge because suddenly you have kill potential on this Visage.
Top lane. Oh! And if he didn't get that kill on Era to get the kill on Supreme, he wouldn't have had 6, which just got him a kill on Charlie.
Exactly.
It's the domino effect.
Zeus is such a snowballing hero. If he gets these levels early enough, suddenly you'll see a Veil or whatever he wants to buy coming in a little bit earlier. This suddenly shifted the state of the game completely. Suddenly NiP, they're feeling the pressure across the map.
Yeah.
But you know what, last game they won the lanes hard and then they lost, so maybe this is the play.
I mean, it's still early days. It's still close, 3 for 2, less than 1k in it. But they've got to keep their cool after. That's a sort of knock-on effect after that mid play. Iceberg again, able to get the rune bottled up. Still holding the lead in that mid lane. Top lane, Charlie still able to find farm. 25 last hits on the TB.
He's only level 4, he doesn't really want to abandon the lane, but then again Roger is rotating so much that he's not pressured, and because of that, this top lane so far is going at least fine for the CS of TB. Actually, Supreme going for a really interesting build. He maxed out the Grave Chill, Didn't really get a lot into the armor. Now this build...
Okay, what does this sort of do for you?
So this isn't really a weird build like half a year ago or a year ago, because it gives you the ability to kill with your birds. But right now, mostly what you're going for is either Soul Assumption or armor, because the burst damage from Soul Assumption, if anyone on your team has Veil, is incredible. Even if you get armor, you just don't die to a Zeus.
Like top lane, Iceberg, Charlie's not got any help, he's alone. Iceberg having an absolute smasher of a game. 7 minutes in, this Zeus starting to take over big time. And it's a scary game for Zeus to take over. You're playing a safe lane TB, this Terrorblade is going to get severely bullied by a well-leveled Zeus.
They need to find a way to deal with him, and they do have some heroes that do well, right? You have Clockwork with the hookshot, with the cogs, plus the Nature's Prophet can TP behind him. You must do that before he gets that one evasive item like a 4-stack, because after that things get much harder. Yeah, so far for FlyToMoon, lanes are going extremely well. Visage is on top of the net worth after Zeus, but after that he's followed by Sand King and VTune's Morph.
Yeah, it's again, Iceberg, he's finding every rune, he's able to just constantly stay on the map. It's being reflected in his net worth. 1,000 ahead of anyone else right now at just this early 8-minute mark. You're going to see some very fast items coming out in Zeus this game.
And you can see Roger understand that he has Zeus on his side, right? So he's just scouting behind, putting these wards. This is basically to see when Terrorblade goes into the jungle, and then the two of them can pretty much kill him alone.
Level 5 with the Toss Avalanche and a Thunder God's Wrath, that'll kill Charlie. Right now. As mid lane, they're getting aggressive onto the Zeus. They've caught him. Iceberg will fall. A very needed movement there from NiP.
That's exactly what they needed, right? The Prophet plus the Clockwork initiation together with the Visage. You definitely do kill him before he gets that first evasive item.
Radiant structures are fortified.
And you can start pressuring these towers, which really is what their lineup is supposed to be doing at this point. Always want to fight.
See, they're going to try and hold on to the mid lane here, but NiP, they're able to get in onto the Oracle. Always want to fly, goes down to the Soul Assumption, gets the round to them. Meanwhile, though, Roger's able to take down Charlie. Comes in with a combo. Charlie goes down, and the tip-in's out. You saw earlier when Iceberg went down, Charlie was quick to send him a tip. So a lot of focus and emotion, as it seems, in particular, between Charlie and the lineup of FlyToMoon. You can expect these tips to continue flowing this game.
Yeah, Charlie is a little bit of an interesting fellow when
what's
it
he
comes
like
to
in the
pubs.
pubs? I feel like Charlie's the one that seems to have a bit of a history with some of these players when it comes to the games.
Yeah, I haven't had a lot of games with him recently.
Okay.
But before,
so he might be a changed man.
Yeah, he might be a changed man, but back in the day I remember there was some toxicity involved, a little bit.
Just a little?
Just a little bit.
Okay.
Overall, though, you can see that these two wards from Tiny are so good. Roger planted one on the top lane here. He sees Charlie. The other one is at the triangle over here, and he's just scouting constantly. He has this another smoke.
Where? Can he finish the... Roger? He's going to get the toss back. It's not enough to save him. I mean, VTune's by his side. And will still commit onto the Tiny. It's Supreme. He really wants that kill. My goodness, he wants it, and he doesn't. Oh, he does get it with the help of the Nature's Wrath. Costs him his life, though, and one of his familiars, maybe even two. Yep, both familiars. That is a hashtag not worth there from Supreme.
That's a big hashtag not worth, because I think Clock might have even killed him alone. The only way he survives is if you get close enough for the toss, right? He gets close enough, Clock gets tossed out.
Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah, if he didn't give a toss target.
Yeah, a toss target, because he still had quite a bit of battery.
He would have been able to stay on top of him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, maybe. What we're seeing from Iceberg. Do you like this as well? I mean, this game, just a quick 4-star, suddenly impossible.
No doubt.
Very hard for them to make any players on. There's the counter to the cogs, counter to the Grave Chill, counter to the Sprout. Yep. It's all round just a fantastic 4-star.
It's actually a fantastic item versus Visage as well.
Yeah. Damn, easy kills. Iceberg, he just keeps reeling them in. Top lane, General and Roger, they'll find another.
Dire's structures
Man, this lineup of NiP, they can't stand alone on the map. If they stay anywhere, Enchantress, Nature's Prophet, even Visage, they just fall so easily. You have so much burst on FlyToMoon.
Yeah, NiP, they can't afford to keep slipping up like this. I mean, we've literally seen this story many times before. FlyToMoon versus NiP. FlyToMoon just cannot help destroying them every single time they've gone up against them in this tournament. And here in this game too, it's looking again to be a solid start for FlyToMoon. Supreme goes for an attempt on to always want to fly. He'll be able to save himself with a false promise. And Supreme is going to try and go for Iceberg. Won't be able to do so.
He just had to stop him from all these aggressive movements, from all the thunder arcs and whatnot. So he turns a little bit, but he knows he does not have a chance of killing that Zeus. This lineup of NiP was supposed to be doing really well right now, and that's the problem. That's the biggest issue for them.
Error. He's going in for this. He's got backup. Saberlight and Misha come in. It should be a dead Roger. He's trapped underneath the tower. They get the kill. Roger's punished, but space is there. FlyToMoon, they might not be able to finish the top tier 1 tower. It does end up getting denied, but they get the mid one instead. VP getting a lot of space on this Morphling already, sailing up towards the top of the board. We saw what he did in a game where he had to make a comeback. This time, he's been ahead for the entirety of it.
Yeah, that's a lot of space being made. Not only was the top tower denied, they also take the mid-tier one. That's 2 towers out of the game, which shrinks the map so much for this Terrorblade that's supposed to be farming safely on his side of the map. Suddenly you will have Sand King with, let's say, a dagger. Same goes for Tiny. It becomes very difficult for Charlie to play and farm. There we go, the Blink Dagger on General completed.
They get the jump on Charlie, he's just dead. Oh, okay. He's going for the illusions. General, he has been dusted. Always want to fly. He's going to try and keep him safe. Error, he's actually gone for the kills on the side, so a little split up. They do still get General, but they'll lose Error for it. VP only held in place for the moment being. The Familiars do finish off Always Want to Fly, so NiP, they've found a couple. Can they get anything more from this though? VP and Iceberg. Little speedy Supreme. Not quite going to have the catch on VP as he's away with the waveform, but NiP, that is 2 for 1. And now in position to push in onto mid with Charlie in the meta. They should be able to take this tier 1 down.
That's really well played. That's really, really well played from NiP, even though they're a little bit behind. 4K behind at 14 minutes in isn't really little. That's a big thing. But they also recognized exactly how FlyToMoon will play. They want to invade your jungle, they want to pressure the Stevie, so why not just wait for them on the high ground? Which is what they did, and they repelled this first aggressive movement from FlyToMoon. It's really important.
Yeah, they just need a bit more of that NiP here to swing this around. General. It's looking for that bounty room, won't be able to get it. Error. He's able to pick it up in time. Iceberg's coming across with the follow-up burst. Error is able to make it out. Hook shot over to more towards the mid lane will save him.
And that was pretty good for Error. He got the bounty, he also got out.
I'll take your tribute.
Roger, however, Charlie.
Oh, have they got the burst? Get the Sunder off this time round. No Thunder God's Wrath was available to back him up. And Roger might just die to this as the illusion is chasing him. And he's going to get popped. Error hitting the shot with a rocket flare. Over towards the river as well. They've caught Always Want to Fly. He's false promised himself, but they have the damage and the control with the Treant Micro to take down another. It's NiP starting to get some kills going their way now.
Okay, so I have to say FlyToMoon, they're making some very basic mistakes. You're ahead. All your main initiator have daggers, your Tiny and your Sand King. That doesn't necessarily mean that you get to play alone afterwards, right? Like, if you continue playing alone, you're giving them an opportunity of coming back, which NiP is gladly taking. They kill off the Tiny. Iceberg.
Radiant's bottom tower has fallen.
Misha might be dead.
Yeah, Roger. With the combo. These heroes will continue to burst anyone that comes out alone until BKB's glimmers are online.
If you're an NiP, you're fine with that. It's your position 5 that died. At the same time, you pressured the bottom lane. You opened up the map for Charlie. It's not the biggest thing if an Enchantress dies, as long as you're making them use spells and resources.
Radiant are scanning.
And we have at least the hood done here for Saberlights, who shouldn't get popped as easily by the blink combo they're going for. NiP, they're going to try and hit FlyToMoon with the smoke, coming in with the wraparound. They're going to find Iceberg. Oh, that's a dream way to start. That's the catch they want to find here, pushing him back with the cogs into the familiar stuns.
Really, really good play.
Yeah.
He had haste there, but he used force too soon. Era hooked him after the force staff, and then he had no way out. But man, NiP, they're playing really, really well when it comes to these rotations. They're doing everything on point. They're realizing where FlyToMoon wants to play, and they're punishing them with these smoke rotations.
V2. He's got the meta form, but can't really chase into this here. Saberlight's coming over. General and V2 still aggressively stepping up into the high ground. General, he even wants to go. He's going to go in with the Burrow Strike. Roger's in as well with the Avalanche Toss. Era's pretty tanky though. Era will finally pop as V2 looks to turn on towards Saberlight. This Morphling hitting pretty darn hard. The Thunder God's Wrath comes out, but they've lost Roger. Now turning with a familiar stun control onto V2, and V2's saved just in time by the false promise. Always want to fly, will fall. V2 still taking heavy damage. Is he going to be able to outdo the damage coming out? He will. He's starting to shift. He's trying to live, but he cannot survive.
Tell me, Owen, did you ever play a party with your, like, let's say, ERL friends that don't really play Dota a lot in some 2K, 1K games?
All the time.
And then you go into your normal ranked games, and you feel like, I can't play like this anymore. I can't play as freely. I feel like FlyToMoon, they expected the same NiP from the first game, and this NiP is completely different. This is like your real ranked. The first game NiP was your 1K, 2K friends. So FlyToMoon definitely needs to step it up when it comes to their aggressive playstyle and how they rotate across the map, because they're getting punished time after time.
Oh yeah, they're losing a lot of the lead that they had. As the moment's passed, this Supreme Visage will take a hold of the top spot with the Midas going. And Charlie's Terrorblade not too far behind either.
You can see that the itemization is really crucial on both sides. This is a game in which you really have to think about what you're buying. Because of that, General has a Vanguard already. He's most likely going for that Crimson Guard that negates the damage from Saberlight, Supreme and Charlie, but mostly Supreme. Era has a Hood. You can see Hood as well, I believe, on Saberlight because of that magic damage that's coming from FlyToMoon. But damn, Supreme went for a BKB, so that's actually very interesting.
I see Saberlight nearly having that full pipe for the team. It's going to make all the difference against this lineup from FlyToMoon. Very reliant on the magic damage, at least at this point of the game, until V2 becomes that real late game right clicker. It's going to take some time though. V2.
I think they try to catch him off guard if he is not really shifting strength at all. If he's low enough, you can kill him with perhaps Nature's Prophet ulti plus the hook shot. That's what they tried there. But it just looked silly.
Arcane power.
Gotcha.
We're coming out on the top lane, FlyToMoon. The three of them. Ready to push, Roger. Ready to seize the opportunity to jump. We're seeing the Aghanims halfway done right now on Iceberg.
This next set of items is very crucial for both sides. You need to wait for them. Aghanims on Zeus, Crimson Guard on Sand King. On the other hand, you have the pipe coming from Saberlight. You have the BKB as well from the Visage that's already done. After that, we'll see just which set of items makes the team stronger in the next couple of team fights. I couldn't really call which team is going to take it. It really comes down to execution.
Oh, they may just find a big one here. It's just going to be always one of Fly tanking it, as Iceberg's already starting to head away. TPs are coming over. Maybe thinking if they can turn, we'll be able to save always one of Fly. Well, in fact, him saving himself. Force was used here from Iceberg to give him that extra bit of safety. And still, they're looking to go in. General caught out on the front lines. He's pretty tanky as this Sand King. Going with the Burrow Strike may not be quite tanky enough though. The Soul Assumption and the Impetus finish him off. They couldn't get a fight going there, FlyToMoon. General dying without any backup. They're going out with the TPs. Are they out in time? They're not. Always want to fly. Left behind. The rest will escape. But again, NiP sweeping across, picking up kills, and taking away these towers without any chance for FlyToMoon to get together a defense.
Yeah, NiP definitely playing the way they should be. Maybe this is even Rosh. You have a bit more than a quarter of meta on. Yeah, they're going straight into it. Why not? Visage is extremely good at taking the Roshan.
Let's see what they can do around here. Can anybody go for a steal? V2's
They're
heading
coming.
in. I don't know if he wants to try for this. This is a little too risky. Yeah, he's not going to. Surely not. Okay, Roger is. Roger's going to try and start things. I mean, he will die immediately for that attempt. And yeah, V2, he's not going in. He's not going in. They can't stop this. They can't try for a steal. This Roche, we NiPs, Aegis grabbed by Charlie. And it definitely feels like if NiP just want to group up as 5 and go down a lane, it's getting to that point where they can push around this Terrorblade. And FlyToMoon, their lineup very good at sort of finding pickoffs, jumping and popping someone. Against a full 5-man and this pipe done by Saberlight, their teamfight just isn't as threatening.
Now, because of the way you itemized on the side of NiP, even though it takes like 30 seconds to kill that Sand King, there's no damage coming from FlyToMoon. You have the BKB, you have the pipes, the hoods, the glimmer capes, and most of your damage on FlyToMoon, it really is magical right now. So you can't kill anyone. I like the itemization from the Sand King with the Crimson Guard pretty much being built up right now.
Oh, here we go. General wants a free one.
Okay.
Oh, no. Didn't do the maths.
Come get healed.
We've got Thunder God's Wrath soon. It's not going to matter now. The heals too are kicking in.
If it's a different game, if it's a game in which he has perhaps a Veil, that's a kill.
Yeah,
that's definitely a kill. But in a game in which he's forced to itemize so defensively, he can't even get the position 5 Enchantress down.
Always want to fly. It's going to be fine. Just stays out of vision. Down bottom, they'll find Error. We'll manage to get the jump on him. We are starting to see NiP split back up a little bit, and that is when they're vulnerable to these moves from FlyToMoon.
But look at where Terrorblade is. Era isn't there coincidentally. He's there because that's the only route they can take to get to Charlie. And because of his death, Charlie is fine here and he can continue on farming.
Got the full Ags on Iceberg now, so again, significant burst. Ags done on Supreme as well.
Yeah, that agonism on Supreme is really big because the amount of control that you get from 3 birds, actually 6 if you have your ulti up, is huge. And if a Morphling doesn't have a BKB, 1 Visage is enough to control him for a very significant time.
Yeah, especially against these heroes like Roger in general. It's Tiny and Sankey. They're always going to be in the front on top of you. You're going to be able to catch multiple in the familiar drops. Hera is going to go straight for the hook shot in. Onto the Tiny. Tossbacks there. Saberlight comes in with a TP on the back line. Look at the walls. Always want to fly. An early false promise comes out to Roger. Always want to fly will fall. Roger, he's going to be abandoned. They're going to leave him. They're just going to let NiP take this one as well as Roger. He's going to have blink in 8 seconds. That's not going to be anywhere near soon enough. Sprouts out. NiP continuing to pick up kills as they wish.
NiP just hit this timing and you can't fight if you're FlyToMoon. Even that fight over there looked pretty good. You had Oracle in position to save Tiny. You had your Nimbus in a really good spot. But it just doesn't matter. You don't have the damage to take them down. How's Morphling doing? Has Skadi and Manta. Man, this just doesn't feel like it will change a lot.
Still yet to really see him get to the chance to show what he's capable of in the fights. And for the most part, avoiding them this game. V2. As a DD, he is sitting for NiP, so should be able to head back, grab this on Charlie. That will come to an end though, so wants to be a farming DD, maybe just working on their next big items before they start to push again NiP. I mean, with the farm that Charlie and Supreme have, maybe not really feeling too much pressure themselves. There is a Zeus mid on the other side, maybe not too worried about Iceberg as things get later on.
They're just taking one objective after another. See the way they're rotating across the map as well. They're just setting up the two possible smoke rotations, green and brown, that's Clockwork and Enchantress, while Visage is pressuring the tier 2. But meanwhile, FlyToMoon, they're not really interested in fighting, are they? They're just farming on VTune in general. The rest of them are hiding behind towers.
And we see what Iceberg next up. Let's go for the Octarine.
He's got what he needs.
Yeah,
it's
like you're going to have the
yeah.
high ground, you're going to have the D push, right? You're going to have the defense.
It's not that big of a defense versus Visage. Zeus, that is, because of the burst. They do the heavy lifting.
Oh, quick one hit. Arrow jumps out. They're going to use the Thunder God's Wrath, maybe see if there's the chance to jump in and catch anyone else. Just give them the vision on Supreme, but Supreme, he's out. Pots the BKB, TP's away immediately after he gets scouted by that Zeus ult.
Yeah, that was a really good smoke as well, something that we came to expect from these teams, because Aegis was running out. And Aegis is out right now. They are 4. Why not smoke again?
There we have it. Deep smoke from FlyToMoon on the attempt to catch more here. Do they want to go deep past the tier 2? This is pretty deep.
It's so dangerous.
It might catch FlyToMoon off to guard. They're going to start poking at Charlie. VTune turning into the TB. That's a dead always want to fly. VTune, he's going to start backing away. This was very, very deep poke here from FlyToMoon. I think they'll do good if they don't lose anyone else other than the Oracle. And they'll get out. Some very aggressive moves there.
Yeah, that was very aggressive. It was so aggressive because Clockwork was also respawning. And he joined the fight.
Well, Saberlight's trying to catch. He's found VTune and the Sprout, but VTune's still able to waveform away. So VTune will make it out of there. NiP have, with that move though, reached the tier 2 again in the mid lane.
Is that the Hex I saw on Visage? Does Supreme have a Hex completed or not yet? Only 3,000 gold. Okay, so he's getting there slowly, but eventually he will get it, and Morphling will not have a free game like now. Solar Crest, next one for Saberlight. I just love how much utility they have on the NiP. Everyone is contributing a little bit. They're not really going for those selfish items that we see from some players. No. One gets a pipe, then you have Vlad from Saberlight, Visage with the drums as well, with the Hex next. Really solid stuff from them. Yeah,
and you really do feel it. Anytime they're in this 5-man group up, it just seems impossible for FlyToMoon to fight into them. The only kills that FlyToMoon has found over the past 10 minutes has been that of people being left alone, being separated from the main movement of NiP. The team as a whole, very hard for FlyToMoon to really dive into.
Also notice that 4 players of NiP have a Hood of Defiance. And the one that doesn't, the Terrorblade, he has just a Cloak. So all of them are itemizing versus the massive magical damage output that's coming from FlyToMoon.
Yeah, and it's working. They can't kill them very quickly at all.
Okay, Supreme doesn't have it, but he has a Shawl. It's something.
See top lane. Not much you can do against the Sand King. So we're seeing NiP do a good job of starting to control this game. I mean, when are they going to try and push for more? When do they need to start looking for the high ground?
I think you're looking at 1 or 2 pickoffs, or you're thinking about this next Roshan. And to control the Roshan successfully, you need to take this cliff area where they are heading right now. You see where they're camping. When you're sitting here, you can creep skip mid lane and top lane and pretty much constantly shove in 2 lanes. So this is strategically a really, really good position for NiP.
Now, BKB done now for the morph, so we'll see VTune have a better shot in the team fights. For the most part, he's just having to be very careful waveforming away. We'll use the Thunder God's Wrath to try and scout them out. This will probably give the info to NiP that FlyToMoon are looking to do something. Or down. Look for the jump in onto Era. He will fall. So a quick jump to start things. NiP thinking about trying to chase back. Won't do so. There is the completion of the Hex for Supreme. So he's got a lot of control.
He's dealing no damage. Like, once that Crimson Guard is popped on Sand King, his birds are irrelevant. All you can do with them is pretty much stun. So, FlyToMoon get away without losing anyone. But Morphling is keeping up. His farm is solid considering how the game went. He didn't join any of the fights. He was AFK for the majority.
I mean, he's 2-1 of 3. Well, he's only been involved in 5 of the 15 this game, V2.
Yeah.
Very much just focused on farming in the safe places.
It is the right choice, because usually when you think about this carry-to-carry matchup, Morphling is the stronger one. However, there's a lot of supporting cast on the side of NiP.
NiP out with the smoke, ready to try and make a catch with this Hex. Just always want to fly. Ooh, it's going to get going on here. Error goes for it. The Force will save the Oracle, though. That will put an end to that smoke move from NiP. Not able to get anyone by surprise. Saberlight TPing over, but not quite in range to start anything else off.
That was a very nice Nimbus play from Iceberg as well, separating the aggression, so it was only Clockwork on the high ground. The rest of them had to deal with Nimbus first, and only then they could follow up.
Oh. Got the Hex out. Supreme also committing the BKB to try and finish off Roger, but Roger's forced over the cliff. He's fine. General will get turned towards Cayman in the midst of it all, but they have the dust out. Roger falls. Then for a minute, V2 as well, having to back up. They're trying to see if they can catch anything more here, NiP, as they chase across. Did pop the meta for this one. At the least, maybe able to have a shot at trying to push high ground with his meta onto the side. A safety toss back from Roger. Keeps always want to fly out of harm's way.
One of the difficulties that you find... Oh! Yeah, this Terrorblade hits hard. He has that crit completed as well.
Yeah, also the full BKB as well now for Charlie, so very little for him to be concerned of in the fights when that BKB is up.
So they're going straight into the pit, but this meta is about to run out.
Yeah, FlyToMoon is heading over. There's going to be the buyback. They're going to make sure that they contest NiP here, as NiP are going to stay in the pit. They're really trying to finish it. Can they do so in time? Error comes out, and that's going to create distraction. They can't get to the pit in time. NiP will have the space required to get the Roshan Aegis onto Charlie. So being able to find the kill onto Roger, seeing if they can chase for more. They get the stun out. Onto always want to fly. General jumps back in. They turn on to Saberlight. V-Tune, he's able to find one. Looks over towards Misha. Misha trying to get back towards the safety of the rest of the team. Turns into the TB there, V-Tune, and using the reflection to try and slow them down. But Charlie pushes on, takes down always want to fly.
That's a buyback from General. They lose 2. That's Aegis, and she's picked up by NiP. At least they take Saberlight out of the equation, but man, if you're NiP, you're happy with how the things are going.
Yeah, this is looking pretty solid now for NiP.
You just got rushed without meta.
Yeah.
You didn't even use any big spells there. You didn't even use BKB. Like, afterwards you did in fight, but you're extremely satisfied if you're NiP.
Yeah, you're definitely getting in the position where you've got all the tools to push. Maybe being down Saberlight for a minute will again at least cause them to wait until he's back in. I guess no need to really try and push it once you haven't got the Prophet alive.
It was a really nice defense of the rush pit as well, right? Era went outside.
Yeah, great hook shot from Era. It stopped any steal, any counterplay. They just couldn't get near the pit because of Era heading straight up like that.
Hex also on the tiny. Roger is your main target that you're worried of, and he was smart about it. He used the spider legs. He tried to get over the cliff and then blink in, but instantly hexed by Supreme. He's sick of his shenanigans and trying to steal that rush. So I'm impressed by the way NiP is playing the second game, because we have seen many series between these two teams, and so far this looks like the best performance NiP have had.
No, they've definitely got something good going here. I mean, the last pick has definitely been played to full potential. I mean, Supreme on the Visage came through last in the draft, 11-2-8. He's had a very, very good game, despite having that rough start.
The start was...
This was a rough mid matchup in the sense that things fell apart because of those early movements that really gave the boost to Iceberg.
One thing is though, this like the panel mentioned, like we mentioned during the early stages of the game, is a really good Visage game. You don't have any hero that really deals with him easily. And I love this. He's actually going for Refresher. This is something that I haven't seen since Virtus.pro Lil days. If you remember when he played position 4 on Virtus.pro, he used to go for Blink Refresher on Visage. He would blink on top of you, summon the birds, stun you with them, use all his spells, then refresh, summon more birds. You would be stunned for like 10 seconds just off of that. It's an unconventional build, but I like it.
Yeah, definitely a high skill cap build as well. You got to have the execution down to a T if you're trying to go for that max duration lockdown between the birds.
Yeah, you can mess it up definitely, but he has 2 hexes as well to work with, right? He has.
Sure. So if it's ever like, oh, there's a bit of a window where you're getting away before the stun's dropping, bam, you got a hex to cover yourself. Yeah, and without a doubt, seeing Charlie. So Arcane Room ready to go. So that next meta will be with a reduced cooldown to benefit him for the second play off the back of it. Gonna go for the smoke here, FlyToMoon.
And the double damage. So they're smoked up
DD.
with Arcane DD.
Damn, that's gonna feel pretty good. How can they stop him? Let's see what they got. There's NiP approaching the high ground. What have FlyToMoon got to push them back? Iceberg. He's gonna do his best, sitting back, spamming out the lightning. Will certainly clear out the way pretty reliably. Still, Charlie getting a lot of damage done to the tier 3, even through the repair kit. They get it. The tower will go down. Hexons always want to fly. He'll buy back immediately. Charlie, he's just tearing apart the base. They're onto the Rex they go. There's just no presence, no front line from FlyToMoon that can jump in and stop this Terrorblade.
You just sigh Gaben, please. When you see Charlie with Arcane Rune and double damage, you know the odds are not in your favor. They tried to put up a defense. They had the repair kit over there as well. They had the glyph, but it's just not enough. The Terrorblade is a beast. He has a Daedalus completed.
Yeah, and I mean, where's the next bit of power spike for FlyToMoon? We're seeing them struggle to defend. Does anything get better for them as the moments pass?
I actually don't see...
Oh, Iceberg. He's going to need some serious assistance. He's going to get it. General comes in with the Burrow Strike on 2. The 4-star onto Iceberg, taking him down to the low ground. Roger also able to break it away. General's out as well with the Burrow Strike. The Nature's Wrath come bouncing around. Always want to fly. Tries to help him out. Can't do so. There's no false promise. Already been used. That's General down for 100 seconds. A long time without the Sand King.
Supreme just ravaged them with his birds. Not only did he catch General with 2 stuns, the 1 remaining stun that he had with the bird stunned 3 remaining heroes. That was extremely well played by Supreme. And you asked about the next big power spike for FlyToMoon. I really don't see it. VTune has to do some godliness.
Oh, he's going in. He's going in, VTune. He's trying to fight them. He's kind of doing it here. Supreme's getting low, but Supreme will live. VTune, he's hookshotted, and he is dead, though. Went in, no gold for buyback. That may just be them throwing in the towel here in game 2. As you've lost your morph, 75. VTune just not able to really get much done at all this game as he was playing from behind. This Terrorblade just out-carrying him in every sense. As the second round will go down, the game won't come to an end yet. But it definitely feels like we're on the final chapter.
Rogers didn't have buyback, so they tried to go back for him. Maybe they'll go for bottom Raxes. Let's see. It definitely does look that way. They know.
Roger. Yeah. I mean, he's just stepping forward underneath the birds. He's dead. Or is. Always want to fly. With the plot twist as he comes in with the false promise. There's a lot of damage coming out to Roger. Can they get him back to safety? The birds continue to beat him down and will kill him off. Roger is gone. 10 seconds until General's up.
Yeah, 30 seconds without the Morphling. Megas are there. It's only now a question of NiP. Do they want to finish it or wait for the meta? It looks like they want to finish it.
We'll see. It's going to be the last attempt here for FlyToMoon in game 2. When the morph's up, General, it's going to go in. It's a big epi. And the Thunder God's Wrath bursting them down low. But Charlie's able to pop the BKB. Turn with the Sunder. Back up to full HP. Always want to fly goes down. GG well played is called. And NiP will be able to punch back here very nicely in game 2 after falling flat on their faces in game 1, coming back in and showing that they're not to be shaken up, and they can still do it here today as they'll take this game 2.